And we were discussing in the earlier show that CARE Ratings has in fact downgraded the long-term rating or the long-term bonds and debenture ratings of SREI Infra as well as GMR Infra's Hyderabad-Vijayawada Expressway, which is an SPV which is owned by GMR Infra. To talk more about that, we have both the analysts of CARE Ratings joining in, Karthik Raj as well as Arindam Saha. In fact, Arindam rejoins us to talk about his rating call. The reason why SREI Infra was downgraded was because of the asset quality concerns. So Arindam, just to continue on that, in that case, what do you think is the risk to SREI Infra's asset quality, considering that you cited the increase in the gross NPAs that have taken place in the past couple of years?
Actually, what happens, the asset quality, whatever with the deterioration in the FY15 is observed, it is basically due to the subdued in Indian economic environment and particularly the infrastructure space which is hit. So what we feel that with the improvement in the economic environment and the infrastructure space, with government spending a lot of coming in this sector, in the road sector, in the mining sector is now will be opened up. So the asset quality we feel that will be improving over the quarters.
When you talk of group's exposure, what exactly are you referring to?
Actually, group exposure means the exposure the company which has made into its various subsidiaries in joint ventures, and also they had made some strategic investments. So basically, the group exposure means that they had a QIPO group of companies where they had invested, QIPO Oil and Gas and QIPO Energy, and also they had a TVO Economic Zone. They had also invested there also, and Saha also they had invested. So these are the areas, these are the companies where the companies are invested. It's a long gestation, and they are yet to divest and these investments, and these investments are yet to yield any results till date.
Okay, according to you, Arindam, which segment in SREI Infra is posing a risk to earnings according, in your opinion? And for example, is it the slowdown in, say, the construction equipment business that they have?
Basically slowdown in the construction equipment because of the infrastructure space. Basically, this segment is actually hardly hit.
All right, Arindam, we'll leave it at that. So that's CARE on the downgrade that they've done to SREI Infrastructure's rating. But Karthik Raj of CARE Rating also joins us on the phone line. Remember, CARE has also cut the rating of the long-term loans to default rating D for GMR's Hyderabad-Vijayawada Expressways. Hi, Karthik, afternoon, and thanks so much for joining in. First, can you walk us through the rationale for cutting the rating all the way down to D? And do you see this spreading to other projects of GMR?
Okay, see, this rating of GMR Hyderabad Vijayawada has been downgraded to D because of the delay in debt servicing, and primarily the shortfall in cash flows coming from the lower than anticipated traffic at the project stage. This was anticipated, and this was there since the project got commissioned, and the cash flow shortfall was being met by the promoters. But we now understand that support is no more continuing, so the default has happened. And on your second part of the question, whether it will continue to other projects, this is project specifically will not be able to comment right now. But there are many projects which are running, and there are few projects which have this traffic issues or traffic diversion issues, as far as the road assets are concerned.
Okay, Karthik, can you tell us what the risk to the ratings of the parent company which owns the SPVs would be? For example, GMR Infra itself?
Yeah, the GMR Infra is the holding company for various infra assets of the group, including airports, power and road. So in the impact of any such default or any performance issues in pertaining to each of the subsidiaries will have to be looked at, and that implications on GMR Infra will be taken. That's a separate call.
How significant is this particular project, the Hyderabad-Vijayawada Expressway?
So in terms of capital employed in the road segment itself, the total of road segment itself is different. It's about less than 20%. So the energy has a major share of its investment, so that will have a bearing on the rating.
So you're saying it will affect GMR Energy more than GMR Infra?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just explain to us what the balance sheet currently looks like, and if what your projections might be, though you might not have it, but what your projections might be, at least on the bottom line, considering that this SPV has made losses, I think, of around 90 crores odd for the past 2 years?
Correct. See, GMR Hyderabad, Vijayawada, see, the larger share of the background of this case is, the larger share of the traffic was expected from commercial vehicles. And owing to presence of many cement industries, and the project corridor was also a major connector for transportation of sand and to different parts of AP. The traffic was significantly affected after the ban on the sand mining, and besides various other economic reasons, including weak demand for the cement and the other the bifurcation of the state itself. Okay. While the economic losses cannot be recovered in this case, events like ban on sand mining is a change in event, change in law of event, for which the concession agreement actually provides for recovering the losses. So, to the extent permissible in the concession agreement, due to change in law or indirect political event, claims have been made on the NHA by the company. But the NHA is yet to approve. So, if compensation comes from, say, compensating the company for the losses as per the provisions in the CA, or if there is an exemption of a revenue sharing agreement, there is a revenue share which the company is actually having with the NHA. So all this could improve some liquidity and bring some improvement to the bottom line. So otherwise the outlook remains the same. Losses will continue.
One final question, Karthik. Which are the banks which have exposure to this particular expressway? Because you have cited delays in servicing of debt obligations. So in your research, if you could just tell us the banks which would be impacted?
No, the bank's exposure, see, this total project loan is about 1,500 crores. So the company is not entirely defaulting. There are a few days delay which are happening. The company is making the payments, and they are already in touch with the NHA for addressing the various concerns, because there are many things which are beyond the company's control. And so far they are servicing. So the bankers, the asset has not become a default category in banks' books. As far as the rating is concerned, one day the default is considered as any such thing is considered as a default. So we have just recognized the default. The rating, it's not end of the road of the company. So.
Okay, fair enough. But the names of the banks?
Banks, there are as many as 7-8 banks which are lent to this company.
Okay, but would you be aware if
IDBI is the lead banker.
IDBI is the lead banker, but would you be aware if it's SME 1, SME 2 already?
It's an SME 1.
SME 1. All right. Okay, Karthik, we leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. Time for a break now. But is Snapdeal IPO still something?